Victimhood. What is it and why don't we want it? Victimhood is an identity. Like something bad happens to us, and then we get stuck in the feeling like, oh, this always happens to me. This is just my life now. Things always go wrong. And it's a kind of place, I wouldn't say it's exactly like despair, but it's a place where there's not much agency. It's like a place where things happen to us. Oh, it rained on me today. Oh, it's not a very upright position. Oh, it's a bit like that. Poor me. No, I'm not saying that there isn't a moment in life where we do need to feel like that, but it's just not something we want to become our identity. I used to have this situation where when I was younger, my life was just so chaotic. I would come home from work, for example, and find that my car had been smashed to smithereens. It was before I'd even passed my driving test. The car was written off. Nobody around, no idea who did it, just my car was gone. Another time I came home and my window had been smashed. And that kind of thing used to happen to me a lot. And I used to wear the position of victimhood like it's absolutely who I was. I didn't have an expectation of good things happening. In fact, you know what? As with many people who've had things go wrong in their lives, there can be this little expectation that life's supposed to make that up to me somehow. I'm supposed to at least win the lottery or something good has got to happen because it just wouldn't be fair if only bad things happened. Now, life doesn't really care so much about what's fair and what's not. Nobody said life is fair. But what life does do is it gives us more of the same. So, whatever our energy is, we're going to receive things based on our energy field. So if we're in a really good mood or we're really happy, we're much more likely to walk down the street and find tenner or something than we are if we're walking around feeling grouchy and upset. Do you know, like it's tests have shown that somebody who's an angry person, even if they're not particularly angry in that moment, is much more likely to get hit by another angry person while walking down the road than someone who's never been particularly angry in their lives. It's really interesting the way that energy works with this. So, how not to be a victim then? So, we have to choose a different position. And so, it can be any position. It doesn't have to be something particular. It doesn't have to be anti-victim. Let's say, let's say we want to live in a world that's a kind place to live. Kindness might be the position that we take. It might be a position of non-attachment that we take. So you do you, I do me. That could be a position. But choosing the position, I'm going to go with, let's talk about it as if kindness was the way we wanted to go. You can replace kindness with any other word of your choice. But so if someone's having a go at you, let's say you've had a little altercation with someone crossing the road in a car park, something like that. And you know that kind of situation where you're normally protected by your vehicles and now you've come out and there's some aggressivity happening. Someone's being rude to you. What you're going to do, the way that energy would normally work is that their energy, them shouting at you, would spark the same response. It's like they've given a light to your candle in a certain sense, and you're going to give it back to them. They've told you you smell, you're going to tell them that they smell even worse. That's what's going to happen by default, unless you do something different. What about if someone's having a go at you and you just somehow stay with yourself in that moment? And one way to do that would be to observe them, to look at them. Our eyes kind of take us out into the world, but they don't necessarily force us to engage in that field. So I find that just looking at something, it sort of separates me from it in a funny sort of way. So if somebody's shouting at me and I'm looking at them, I might be watching I might be watching their face contort. I might be watching them get red. I might be watching sweat trickling down. But you kind of notice these things and it stops you from engaging in their world if you're just noticing what your eyes are telling you. And then you might want to actually offer them something. You might want to offer them a kind word. For all you know, that person that's being mean to you is having the worst day of their life. You've no idea what they've got going on. And I get that you are the recipient of their aggression or what's not good in them, but you don't know why. So what about if you didn't assume that they were just a nasty bastard and deliberately trying to hurt your feelings? What about if you could take a step back, be with yourself, having yourself, and just say something kind to them. Like, I'm sorry you're so upset. Sometimes just naming what's happening in the field can make a difference. I'm sorry that I made that mistake that's upset you. Or I'm sorry you feel that way. Some kind of sort of maybe a slight stepping down, I guess that sounds like. But actually, it's just a holding your ground. Something where you're holding your ground. It's not costing you to say that you're sorry they feel how they feel. You don't have to make judgments about, oh, if you're such an angry person, I bet that your husband can't stand being with you either. You don't have to do any of that. You can just be kind. And it feels to me like if you can just be kind, that moves the energy. It gives the energy an option of something else to do. It gives your energy a different option. And you don't have to try to force that person to be having a better day than they're having, but you don't need to add to it. And you don't need to take away their bad day with you. So if you can stay engaged with yourself and be kind to the other person, if kindness is the model that we're talking about, how is that going to feel to you? I feel like being able to protect your own energy system from anybody else, being able to penetrate it with their nasty words, with their energy, with their aggression, is going to help. It's going to help. And it's really about maintaining oneself, being so intact in oneself that what happens around us doesn't destabilize us. Give it a go.